Tonight, Sauble Beach, it will stay. Canada's highest court puts an end to a legal challenge, assuring Indigenous control over the waterfront. Plus, what to do with all those empties.
Where were those people going to get their money back? You're not going to drive an hour to a beer store.
More stores closing, with them the options for returns. And setting the standard in St. Thomas, recognizing progress on homelessness and addiction.
And when they have hope, they want to recover and they want to do better.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a decision from Canada's Supreme Court. The country's highest legal authority will not hear an appeal over Sauble Beach ownership. As Scott Miller reports, that means one of the area's top tourist destinations will remain in Indigenous control.
Now, some may not like it, but Sauble Beach is here to stay.
You're holding your breath for such a long time, and it's like once you get the noose, it's just like a breath of fresh air and less restriction.
The Supreme Court of Canada has dismissed a request from the town of South Bruce Peninsula to appeal the decision that granted a section of valuable shoreline in Sauble Beach to the Saugeen First Nation. In April of 2023, the Ontario Court of Appeal granted the Saugeen First Nation ownership of about 2.5 kilometers of sandy beach, stretching from Sauble Beach's Main Street north to 6th Street. The case was first brought before the courts 35 years ago, but it was nearly a century ago when Indigenous leaders claimed an 1854 treaty deeded ownership of the disputed shoreline to them.
That's how resilient and patient our people have been to feel finally heard and seen and validated.
Denying the leave to appeal means the town of South Bruce Peninsula and a small collection of private landowners have seemingly exhausted all legal avenues to retain ownership of the beach. That was controversially renamed Saugeen Beach by the Saugeen First Nation on Canada Day.
It kind of grooms society. It kind of grooms community. It kind of grooms children when you have a colonial name that's supposed to be the Indigenous people of that land and beach.
Contacted by CTV News today, South Bruce Peninsula representatives said they wouldn't have anything to say about the Supreme Court's decision until after their next council meeting on September the 2nd. Ritchie says now the legal wrangling over who owns Saugeen Beach appears to be done. Compensation from the federal government for breaking the 1854 treaty can be discussed. He hopes that can be resolved outside of court. As far as the beach goes, Ritchie says Saugeen Beach will continue to be a tourist destination open to the public, attracting millions of visitors each summer.
Now we all have an obligation, a duty to protect this land and this water and making sure that it's still here for future generations.
For those confused, Ritchie says Sauble Beach remains the name of the popular beachside town, which is still owned and operated by the town of South Bruce Peninsula, but the beach will be called Saugeen Beach now that it is in Saugeen First Nation control. In Sauble Beach, Scott Miller, CTV News.
An advisory has been issued over low water levels in the Thames River. According to the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority, the Level 1 advisory is because of what's been a dry and hot summer. Officials say rainfall over the last 3 months has been 25% below normal. They're asking businesses and industries to conserve water, with levels trending lower for the last 25 years.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. We are still in the midst of this cool air slot. In fact, lots of cold air coming out of the northwest, hence the cold front that brought the showers across southern Ontario earlier this afternoon. Still some light thunderstorm activity in and around Lake St. Clair, and there's a chance the overnight temperatures, technically the low before dawn, will be in the single digits. Speaking of temperatures, take a look. Right now, holding at 16 degrees at the airport in London. I would say that the winds are relatively light right now at 9 kilometers per hour out of the west-northwest. However, they will be picking up later tonight around 9, 10, 11. It will be a breezy, windy, cool day tomorrow with showers and then some sunshine on the way. I'll break down what you need to know for the long weekend forecast and beyond as we head back to school. Carlyle.
Thank you very much, Gary. Recognition today in St. Thomas on the progress the community has made on homelessness and addiction and the work still to be done. Sean Irvine has more on today's event and what it means for the people who have had to rely on the city's supports.
As the flag to mark International Overdose Awareness Day was raised in front of St. Thomas City Hall, many in the crowd remembered those lost to addiction. Some also reflected on their journey from despair to recovery.
I was on the street for about 4 years.
Sarah Pepper runs a peer support group today, but 5 years ago she was struggling to survive. At the time, St. Thomas residents were not as open to those battling addiction and homelessness. There were also far fewer services.
We had one drop-in center, and that was it. There was no soup kitchen. There was no peer support. There was nothing like that. It was pretty rough. When you were on the street then, you were on the street.
Fast forward to the present, and St. Thomas is known Canada-wide for its proactive efforts to help those on the streets.
If you look at where we were about 5 years ago, things were a lot worse, but we've made significant investments in St. Thomas, and we started with homelessness, and we felt that people needed a place to stay, and if they weren't in the right frame of mind with a place to stay, then they couldn't make other advancements in their life.
From supportive housing to in-person services, the change is being felt at the ground level.
That gives people hope, and when they have hope, they want to recover and they want to do better.
While there is a lot of pride in what St. Thomas has accomplished so far, advocates say one key service is still missing. But as the province moves to recovery hubs, a plea for a safe injection site isn't likely to be heard. Sarah hopes opinions can be changed.
Not having that, it gives them no choice but to have to do it outside and in places where maybe people don't want to see it, but they have no other choice.
But as challenges on the street persist, this community keeps talking.
Just the fact that people are discussing things like this now, it's not swept under the rug anymore. People can be safe, they can be open about what they need.
In St. Thomas, Sean Irvine, CTV News.
Provincial police say they're investigating a dog attack on the Oneida Nation of the Thames. They say a resident was injured and a pet was killed. According to police, it happened Tuesday night. A 71-year-old was walking their dog when two off-leash pit bulls attacked with no owner in sight. No details on a potential suspect have been released. OPP also say they've arrested two men accused of stealing $160,000 worth of silver from London gold buyer. The shipment originated from London, intended for the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. Police say they learned last week the silver was sold to a business in Orillia, leading to the arrests. A business owner in Ancaster has stepped up security after a violent armed robbery. They've installed a smoke screen system, flooding the jewelry store with dense fog, hoping to disrupt the theft in progress. With more, here's Alexandra Hollick.
In a matter of seconds, a thick fog floods this Ancaster jewelry store. It's a taste of what could happen in the event of an armed robbery.
If the hold-up button is pushed, they automatically disperse for 30 seconds with a non-toxic water vapor.
Owner Jean-Pierre Verbunt installed the anti-theft measure after a violent smash and grab last December.
They did smash almost every case in the store. I spent the night in the hospital, got a CT scan, lots of damage to my face from hammers and punching.
The store's new system acts as smoke and mirrors, clouding criminals' vision and deterring them from finishing the job.
You can't see your hand in front of your face, so you can't steal what you can't see.
You just want to do anything you can to try and delay them and slow them down. It's not like we're trying to, incapacitate them or something. We just want to give the police time to get here.
The owner here at Ancaster Jewelers says he knows security systems won't put a stop to all armed robberies or guarantee it won't happen again. But he says he's hopeful the new measures will deter criminals from striking his store.
It's really to stop yourself from being the low-lying fruit and put yourself a little higher in the tree.
The device is often used in stores overseas, but since it came to Canada, it's billowed in popularity.
Jewelry stores some higher end retail, private residences, and then some retail applications where they're looking to protect specific assets.
The price for the added layer of protection starts at $1,500. But Verbunt says the smokescreen and security measures in general are worth every penny.
Show all the bad guys that we have this passive resistance that's going to hopefully stop you from even trying.
Alexandra Hollig, CTV News, Ancaster.
Court documents show the man accused of breaking into a Kawartha Lakes area home only to be reportedly assaulted by the person who lived there was armed with a crossbow. Police say that Michael Breen broke into Jeremy McDonald's apartment in Lindsay on August 18th. It's a case that has prompted a national debate on what constitutes reasonable self-defense. Police ended up charging both men, saying the intruder had to be airlifted to a Toronto hospital with serious injuries. London police are launching Project Learn this weekend as post-secondary students arrive for the new school year. The annual campaign was launched in 2007, focusing on liquor enforcement and noise reduction. According to LPS, during September, there will be an increased police presence focusing on parties, open alcohol consumption, underage drinking, and public intoxication. The National Plowing Championships are underway, bringing farmers from all over the country to our region, competing for the perfect furrow. With more on the event, here's Scott Miller.
The art of turning a proper furrow is on display in farmers' fields near Ayton this week as the best plowmen in Canada take part in our National Plowing Championships.
It's nice to see the tradition carry on. I mean, this is the top in Canada to see, and the opportunity to go to the Worlds. I went to the Worlds back in 2017. It's a great opportunity.
A select group of predominantly farmers are trying to keep their fields straight and their furrows clean and precise as judges watch on.
We want the furrows even, well packed. We want all the grass and sod buried. We don't want sticks or straw sticking up or green sticking up, and we want nice ins and outs that we can finish the field with, just plow them in nicely.
Plowing has been around for thousands of years, starting with an ox and stick. Its purpose is to simply turn the soil over to create a new fresh bed to seed. It is used less and less in modern agriculture, though, as no-till farming and other advancements decrease the use of turning a furrow.
Yeah, it is going away on farms. Lots of farms still do. It's, it's just one tool that we can use to grow good crops, but certainly keeping the art of it and the skill and the quality, it's nice to see it carry on.
No one is happier to see it carry on than Bert Byance, who has come all the way from Strathroy to watch the Canadian Plowing Championships. He has plowed for Canada at 8 World Championships. He started turning furrows at the ripe age of 7.
People play hockey, play baseball, and we do the plowing. So that's basically it. But if you want to make money, maybe baseball or hockey pays better.
Turning the best furrow here is about a lot more than just bragging rights. The winners and those that qualify will represent Canada at the World Plowing Championships taking place next month in Europe.
It's just one thing like we can celebrate in agriculture, right? And kind of farmers can come together and appreciate the sport.
Near Ayton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
When we come back, nowhere to go with leftover empties. As more beer stores close, the options for returns are drying up. Plus, abuse and mistreatment in Canadian sport. A new report finding deeply ingrained issues in youth athletics.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Rock the Runway is landing at the London International Airport September 12th and 13th. Enter at CTVLondon.ca for your chance to win a pair of VIP tickets to see Noah Khan, Miles Smith, and more on Friday, September 12th.
Many beer stores across Ontario will close this fall, which means there will be that many fewer outlets to return empties. Now, the provincial government seems to be banking on supermarkets and convenience stores picking up that slack, but as Heather Wright reports, that doesn't seem likely.
Last year, more than 1.6 billion empties were returned to Ontario beer stores, according to the retailer.
It's $33 here.
But with more than 100 locations either shuttered or slated to close by the end of the year, some fear the program won't survive.
Where were those people going to get their money back? You're not going to drive an hour to a beer store.
Most provinces have some sort of deposit return program, whether it's through retailers or purpose-built depots. In Ontario, the program has been run by the beer store for decades, a retailer owned by international brewing companies that once had a monopoly on beer sales in the province. The Ford government canceled that contract, allowing for beer and wine to be sold in grocery and convenience stores, paying a $225 million penalty to end it early.
There is more points of sale to buy it, but what's going to happen with the recycling and the empties?
At this point, it's unclear. According to the province, grocery stores that sell alcohol must begin accepting empties and providing refunds on January 1st. But now some grocers, including Loblaws, Metro and Sobeys, are rethinking selling booze. Retail settings are not designed to accommodate bulk returns of alcohol containers, the Retail Council of Canada said in a statement. Given the cost and operational complexities of managing alcohol returns, some retailers are reassessing whether it remains viable to continue selling alcohol. The union representing beer store workers expects more closures next year, a hit to recycling efforts and to those who rely on empties to make ends meet.
This is really helpful for us.
The province says the beer store will continue to operate the deposit and return program until 2031, but with more and more stores like this one closing, it's not clear if consumers will go out of their way to return their empties. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
A new report on Canadian sport indicates abuse, harassment, and discrimination are widespread and ongoing under a culture of silence. With more on the findings and the report's recommendations for improving the situation, here's Andrew Johnson.
Do you see this? They traveled the country for a year, speaking to hundreds of athletes, administrators, coaches, and parents. The consensus, clear.
The Canadian sports system is in crisis. As many have told us, it is broken.
The Future of Sport in Canada Commission found evidence of widespread abuse and mistreatment at all levels. A lack of protection for children and Olympians alike left vulnerable.
Physical punishment, sexual assault, training while injured, humiliation, intimidation, isolation tactics, failures to provide medical care, discrimination and exploitation.
The commission also found in a win-at-all-costs culture of silence, when an athlete musters up the courage to come forward, they often run into a brick wall.
Lost in the web of various complaints mechanism, resulting in many feeling helpless and abandoned.
The commission is making 71 recommendations for change. It suggests the creation of a unified national safe sport tribunal to eliminate the patchwork between local, provincial, and federally regulated organizations and enforce legislation at all levels. Federal funding being made conditional on compliance, background checks, and a nationwide public registry to flag wrongdoers and restrict access. Survivors of abuse like gymnast Amelia Klein say with the release of this report, their horrible experiences are finally being validated.
To have them influence what we hope is going to be meaningful change in the system is, there are hardly words to actually describe what that feels like.
She says the ball is now in Ottawa's court to act. These are only recommendations that, after another round of feedback, will then be presented to government. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
A mother and son were reunited this week in Manitoba. They were separated during the 60s scoop, and for most of their lives, they've lived half a world away from each other. Alex Carpa reports.
It's an emotional homecoming for Jonathan Hooker, 1 decade in the making. For the first time in 50 years, Hooker has returned home to Manitoba to reconnect with his Indigenous heritage and family.
It's the first time I've actually laid eyes on my mother, so yep. It's been a journey, all right? It's, it's all a bit overwhelming to be here today, so yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hooker was taken from his community of Moose Lake in 1975 during a government operation known infamously as the 60s Scoop. At just 18 months old, he was adopted by a family in Manitoba who then moved to New Zealand.
Through my adopted parents, they were always pretty open about things. I always knew that I was adopted. I guess up until a couple of years ago, I didn't really fully understand how it all played out.
Hooker's biological mother, Patsy George, has dreamt of this reunion since the moment her son was taken away.
I thought I would never see him again. He was only 2 months old when they took him away from me. And my other daughter, a month old.
An estimated 30,000 Indigenous children were taken from their homes between 1951 and 1991, many of them placed into non-Indigenous homes across Canada and around the world.
This is a moment to celebrate that there is hope for a lot of people all over the world that are searching for their families, and this is one of those examples.
Hooker hopes his story can help others who are in his situation.
So hopefully somebody else, again, will see this and hopefully maybe start looking for their family, or it'll give them some clues to reach out and help.
Hooker will be staying here in Manitoba for 3 weeks and will return to his home community of Moose Lake First Nation at the beginning of September. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Meteorologist Gary Archibald is with me tonight. And Gary, the sun has broken through here in the late afternoon in London. However, it's still pretty cool. I think a lot of people hoping for a temperature turnaround as we get toward this long weekend.
Oh, I would be on that wagon, no doubt. Good evening, Carlyle. Good evening, folks. Cool, yes, the showers earlier today across parts of southwestern, southern central Ontario proper with the cold front. The cold front indicative of this cold air mass. It's the leading edge of it. It's in place. We've felt the effects over the last few days, only reaching a high of 19. Our average high for this time of the year is 24, close to 25. And we're holding at 18 at the airport, into the teens. Not much to be seen here right now, at least in terms of active weather. However, the winds are going to be picking up through tonight into tomorrow morning. We'll see wind gusts in that 35 to about 45 kilometer per hour range. We'll also be clearing through the overnight and then seeing increasing cloudiness, the story. And by the way, a couple of weeks ago, we were the warm spot across the lower Great Lakes, in fact, much of Ontario. Instead, now we are the cooler part of the country, save for the northern latitudes, and the prairies have warmed up significantly. Speaking of warm and cold air, most of the cold air is entrenched, relatively speaking, cold air across southern Ontario. The warm air is to our south and east, and that's why we saw some showers and thunderstorms when those two air masses clash. That's the result often, especially in the summer season, and the worst of that is stateside, moving through parts of New York State proper further east. Meanwhile, the clearing, as mentioned, and then the scattered showers to follow. That's the story between right now and tomorrow through to, say, the noon hour. Again, this map showing you where those rain showers are likely to fall stateside from Ohio into Pennsylvania, due east, New York State, southern Ontario proper. We'll see dribs and drabs, very isolated if we see it at all, and the intensity is not anticipated to be very high at all as well. Here's the breakdown for tonight. Windy through 8 o'clock, 15 degrees, then clearing. 12, followed by 10 as we go from 10 p.m. to midnight to start early Friday morning. Clear through the overnight up until at least sunrise. And by the way, the overnight temperature around 4:35 a.m. is expected to be between 5 and 6 degrees Celsius. Take a look at the Metal Roof Outlet 7-day forecast for the great city of London, Ontario. I'm promising a rebound and perfect timing for the last weekend. For some kids, it's just the end of summer, not in terms of the seasonal time on the calendar, but the last 3 days, Labor Day, looks good. Mid-20s anticipated Saturday through to perhaps Thursday of next week, and we're looking at low probabilities in terms of rainfall. So the holiday weekend and the first week of school look to be comfortably warm and sunny. Beautiful conditions. So too for the Midwest. Save for tomorrow morning, passing showers and a cool afternoon. We'll rebound into the low to mid-20s as well. It looks grand. No complaints for back to school weather I hope. Carlyle?
I agree with that. Thanks very much, Gary. Still had a major employer closing down in Amherstburg. What's behind the decision to shutter the Crown Royal bottling plant?
Tomorrow on Pure Country, 2 more chances left for you to win tickets to see Brett Kissel.
He's going to be here in London on September 7th. You have a chance to win your way in at 8:35 in the morning with us and 3:40 in the afternoon with Weaver.
Good luck.
More than 150 workers could soon be out of a job in Amherstburg when the Crown Royal bottling facility closes down. According to the local mayor, it's the community's biggest employer, and this will be a significant loss.
Diageo is not just Amherstburg's largest employer. It represents far more to this shoreline town of about 25,000.
You have generations of families that have worked there. Amherstburg's wrapped their arms around that facility.
Inside, crews bottle and package Crown Royal, filling, capping, and case packing before finished cases ship to distributors in Canada and the U.S. Come February, the doors are closing on this nearly 100-year-old facility, putting 160 people out of a job.
To be quite frank with you, I was pissed off. I made it clear to the company that they have a fight on their hands because it was basically reading me a letter with no details, just saying it was a business decision.
In a statement, the company says it's part of a plan to streamline its North American supply chain, shifting some bottling closer to U.S. consumers, while Crown Royal's mashing, distilling, and aging remain in Canada. For this community, the shutdown raises difficult questions about what Amherstburg looks like without its largest employer.
I've asked the CAO and the treasurer to look at the economic impact that is going to have on Amherstburg.
Amherstburg Mayor Michael Prue says he plans on reaching out to Invest Windsor-Essex to see if anyone would be interested in taking over this massive facility.
Without the jobs, we become a bedroom community, and I, as mayor, do not want that. We're trying to increase our commercial industrial base. We've been very successful in the last year. This is a major blow.
Diageo says Crown Royal whiskey destined for Canada and non-U.S. export markets will continue to be bottled in Canada, but at the company's facility in Valleyfield, Quebec. As for the union, officials say they are coordinating efforts with Unifor leadership to develop a strategy to try and keep the plant open. Sanjay Maru, CTV News.
A new rule comes into effect tomorrow for packages sent to the U.S. Those will incur an import tax anywhere from 10 to 50% of the item's value on all packages worth $800 U.S. or less.
My worst fear is that people just decide not to buy at all, just because the price is uncertain, whether they're going to get it or not is uncertain.
Business owners will have to decide whether they want to absorb that cost or pass it on. Millions of duty-free packages enter the U.S. daily, but once this change comes into effect, postal operations in at least 25 countries are suspending U.S. shipping. Canada Post is not among them. Instead, officials say they'll use a third party to collect and send the duties directly to U.S. Customs. Officials with Canada Post are asking union members to revisit their offers following a bargaining session yesterday. According to the Crown Corporation, there are still substantial gaps between the parties, accusing the union of adding new demands and hardening on existing ones. Post office officials say they've received counteroffers from the union in response to Canada Post's so-called best and final offers in May. On Tuesday, Canada Post reported a $400 million loss before tax in its second quarter. There's a push in Nova Scotia to make it the first province in Canada to set an age limit for social media use. A new bill would ban kids under 16 from creating accounts, an effort to protect young people and their mental health. Emma Convey reports.
Ruby May has 4 grandchildren, all 6 and under. In her household, social media isn't an issue because the kids aren't allowed to use it.
My granddaughters are not allowed on the internet. Anything that they watch is all pre-taped and pre-monitored by their parents. So there is no free reign. There's no YouTube that they can get on.
May is a strong supporter of a social media ban for children under 16. Her reason, protection.
And deep supervision if they are on it. No posting of minors on the internet due to the number of scammers and pedophiles that are out there these days that are stalking these children.
Whether or not that becomes a law here in Nova Scotia, the provincial Liberals are on board, putting forward a bill this morning.
Today is about restricting social media access to Nova Scotians under the age of 16. This has happened in other places of the world. It started generally at the state or provincial level. This is something that is evidence-based.
That's when they're starting to drive. That's when they're starting to become an adult. We have to start teaching them how to be on these platforms safer. But under that, their development is so impacted by forming their identity at that age and the influence that these algorithms have on the content they're seeing.
The bill put the onus on tech companies to police it.
The way we can do it is to make the companies self-regulate and have penalties in place if they don't.
Some experts suggest delaying access as long as possible.
American youth are now telling us they're spending on average about 4 hours a day, 4 hours a day. They're feeding our kids a steady diet of anxiety and outrage that is making them upset and unwell.
You don't know how old they are actually online if you're talking to them. Having a 2-year-old, just looking at that now, it's definitely scary.
But some say there are benefits.
Kids using the social media actually gain a lot of knowledge.
Emma Convey, CTV News, Halifax.
Canada's main stock index struggled to find a direction today, finishing flat. The TSX gained just 2 points. In New York, the Dow added 72, the Nasdaq up 115. The Canadian dollar gained 1/3 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold gained almost $26 an ounce. Oil is up 45 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, a Londoner leaps into action, rescuing a skunk from the confines of a Tim Hortons coffee cup. Welcome back. New data from Stats Canada suggests close to 40% of Canadian businesses will pass tariff-related costs to consumers over the next year. According to a release from the agency, despite passing those costs on, many business owners are maintaining a positive outlook this quarter, similar to previous quarters. The survey found found more than half of business owners surveyed expected to be able to operate at least for the next year if tariffs and counter-tariffs remain. A new poll shows an overwhelming majority of Canadians support regulating artificial intelligence. The Leger poll found 85% of respondents wanted governments to regulate AI tools, ensuring ethical and safe use. A majority also say they strongly agree with government regulation. However, the federal artificial intelligence minister has said the government won't emphasize AI regulation as the technology gains wider adoption. Hundreds of properties have been evacuated in Nova Scotia under threat from wildfires. At this point, the fire is still growing and many homeowners are not sure what's burned and what hasn't. Jonathan McInnes reports.
2 weeks now and the Long Lake fire burns as strong as ever.
Our current status is we are still sitting in a state of out of control. Our current size is 8,278 hectares.
More than 500 homes have been evacuated. With assessments still ongoing, officials aren't ready to say how many structures have been damaged or lost.
I don't have the complete list of numbers. We're working with the municipality. Of course, the municipality is making the strides in contacting each one of these homeowners.
Sprinkler systems have been brought in to try to protect the homes in the fire's path. The battle to save the homes is still a difficult one.
This is a large fire and it needs more resources on the ground and in the air, and we are getting everything we can to get this fire brought under control as quick as we can.
62 crews from Ontario are now on site assisting local firefighters and teams from the Department of Natural Resources. 9 helicopters and 6 fixed-wing aircraft are also involved in the effort. Rainfall on Monday helped a bit, but conditions are once again becoming dangerous.
We're moving into a drying trend. We are currently sitting in very serious drought conditions, so the fuel is dry and is ready for combustion.
Jonathan McInnes, CTV News, Halifax.
It's time for your London list. This is where we get you up to date on what's happening in and around the area. I can't believe I'm saying this, the last long holiday weekend of this summer. Maybe perhaps you're doing some shopping this weekend, getting ready for back to school. I can't even go there at this moment.
Same.
So let's talk about some fun things going on.
Please.
Let's start at the Covent Garden Market.
Yes, we've got lots going on. This is one that's going to be really cool if you're into vintage and you love thrifting and finding all the cool, unique finds. This is happening. It is the Vintage Festival. It's exactly what it sounds like. So it's not in Covent Garden Market Square. It's just off to the side of the market. But again, it's going to be really fun, totally free to attend. There's going to be like music and stuff too, so good vibes while you shop for vintage.
Oh, cool.
I know, really cool.
I
It's
feel like you would
sustainable.
be into this.
I do love a good vintage haul.
Yes, and you have a great eye for that kind of stuff, which I love. Okay, what else is going on downtown London?
We've got the Teddy Bear Picnic. That's happening at Eldon House. So this is really cute. This is happening on Saturday, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So you can bring the kiddos. They're going to have story time with Beatrix Potter. They're going to have all sorts of like lemonade and stuff, and everyone's encouraged to bring their little stuffies. So it's going to be very cute. I might take my daughter to this. I feel like she'd have a really great time.
But tell us about She's the Boss Market.
Yeah, so this is also happening at the Covent Garden Market this weekend, and it's a London Maker a festival event market. So you can go and just shop all sorts of one-of-a-kind, unique goods here in the city, and it's all going to be just, again, supporting local makers, which is a really good thing to do in this economy.
All right, Custerman still has their festival going on.
Yes.
It's all about the sunflowers. I wore my yellow.
You did. I was like, you're like end of summer chic. I
Yes,
love this.
thank you.
Okay. This is a staple. It's a great time. If you've never been to Custerman's, they have everything from a giant zip line, bouncing pillow, to a hobby farm with goats and all the different animals. In the fall, they have their corn cannon. I don't know if that one's ready yet, but it's a lot of fun. You can shoot a cannon at cars. It's really cool. And then, of course, there's the sunflowers. So they have a really cool sunflower maze. You can go and pick your own sunflowers, and it's always just a really fun time to go as an adult with your friends or with kids too.
All right. Is there a fair this weekend?
There is not a fair this weekend.
Okay.
I know we're taking a break, and then we jump back full swing into fall fairs next weekend.
All right. And with the fall theme, my house is starting to get a little bit excited for football season.
Yes.
We've had a bit of preseason going on, but the Western Mustangs are back, and this screams fall to me.
I know. I'm so excited. So Sunday night is their home opener against Guelph. So 7 o'clock, it's going to be a time. Bust out the purple. Do what you got to do, but it's going to be a lot of fun as they kick off their, I guess, 2025-2026 season.
Oh my gosh. All right. That's KP for Mornings on Virgin Radio with your London list. Have a great weekend. Have fun. Play safe, and we'll see you next time.
Tomorrow on CTV News, a major donation for the London Children's Museum. Details on the contribution from a prominent local businessman tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Let's take a look at a beautiful image thanks to Sebastian Luke for our CTV News weather snapshot. Cool temperatures tonight into early tomorrow morning, pre-dawn down into the mid-single digits across much of the region in and around the great city of London, Ontario. Anticipate morning showers too, and a cool 18 or 19 degrees for a daytime high. Things look a lot better for the weekend, the long weekend. We'll see sunshine and temperatures rebounding.
Authorities in Ukraine are reporting one of the biggest and deadliest Russian attacks since the invasion began. Hundreds of missiles and drones raining down on multiple sites, killing at least 19 people, children among them. Rachel Aiello has more on the latest deadly escalation.
Multiple body bags pulled from this smoldering residential building in Kyiv after Russia launched a massive air attack on the capital. Dozens of buildings were hit or damaged by debris. Russia claimed the strikes were targeting Ukraine's military-industrial complex, but the death toll, expected to climb, already includes 4 children.
The Ukrainians are holding very hard, and so the Russians are pounding. They're not willing to negotiate yet.
The attack, the first targeting the city center since the Alaska summit, raising new questions about where U.S. President Donald Trump's peace talks stand.
He was not happy about this news, but he was also not surprised.
The European Union and United Kingdom are summoning Russia's envoys after strikes damage their diplomatic offices in the capital.
We are keeping maximum pressure on Russia.
The Canadian embassy was not hit. Foreign Affairs confirming all staff are safe. But that didn't deter Prime Minister Mark Carney from blasting Russia in a lengthy statement. By murdering when he should be talking, Putin demonstrates in the most horrific manner that his mission to subsume the Ukrainian people under his tyranny continues. Carney said in part, the Prime Minister was just in Kyiv, where he vowed Canada's aid contributions could expand in the event of a ceasefire.
And I would not exclude the presence of troops.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been working the phones with top world leaders in the aftermath of the attack, thanking them for their support and pressing for tough new sanctions on Russia. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A vigil last night in Minneapolis mourning the victims of yesterday's mass shooting.
What I'm thinking about is a national ban on assault rifles. My prayer is a national ban on these assault rifles. And you should know that when we used to ban them assault rifles, we used to keep a lot more people alive than we do now.
2 children were killed yesterday when a shooter opened fire through the windows of a church. 14 other kids were injured, along with 3 adults. The newly installed director of the American Centers for Disease Control has been fired after refusing to resign. Susan Monarez had barely been on the job a month, appointed by President Trump. Her attorneys say she received notification from the White House that she had been terminated. According to reporting by NBC News, she was targeted for, quote, refusing to rubber stamp unscientific and reckless directives. Since her firing, 4 other top CDC officials have resigned themselves, opposed to changing policies around vaccines. A young pilot in Alberta says he's been grounded because of delays in processing his medical review. He's been cleared by doctors to fly after beating cancer, but he can't get back in the cockpit until Transport Canada agrees. Mark Villani reports.
This is the plane I trained on. It was a Cessna 172.
The Springbank Airport is where hundreds of Southern Alberta pilots earn their wings. For 20-year-old Ethan Larson, it's where his lifelong dream took flight.
Basically, since I could walk, I've always dreamed of being a pilot.
But all of that changed last April. Just a week after graduating as a commercial pilot, Larson was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia.
It was quite devastating because I worked so hard and everything was going great.
He underwent chemotherapy and a stem cell transplant. Doctors eventually declared him healthy, and in December, he submitted his medical review application to Transport Canada. Fast forward 8 months, and his file is still sitting in Ottawa.
And they told me that if I keep contacting them, it will delay the process even more. I had companies calling me, and they were asking when I can come back, and I just had to keep telling them that I'm stuck on the ground right now.
Transport Canada has upwards of 60,000 medical applications to review annually, 25% of which are considered complex. The safety and security of the aviation sector is a top priority. A complex file will result in extended timelines for consideration of flexibility.
The last thing you want to do is hold the kid back.
Country music star George Canyon is an avid pilot himself. Diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, he knows the struggles of Transport Canada medical reviews.
It's not a malicious intent from Transport. It's just, you can imagine the number of files with the limited amount of resource. How do we spread it out?
The Airline Pilots Association also warns of medical approval backlogs, calling on Ottawa to allocate appropriate funding levels to Transport Canada to ensure the department is able to meet at minimum established processing standards. And in the wake of a nationwide pilot shortage, some say these jobs are in high demand.
Air Canada alone loses around 100 pilots a year for retirement.
But those opportunities are dwindling the longer this pilot is forced to wait.
These are people's lives at stake and livelihoods.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
It's Jeff Keefe and Backstage Ben from Virgin Radio, and we're sending you to London's largest outdoor festival, Rock the Runway.
Tickets are on sale now, or you can listen to us on 97.5 Virgin Radio for your chance to win Noah Kahn tickets.
Welcome back. A massive sinkhole has opened up in Toronto's East End, causing commuter headaches.
The infrastructure in Toronto is old.
They can't afford to replace it all at once.
City crews were on scene for emergency repairs. Footage from a CTV News helicopter shows the significant damage. A large portion of an intersection caved in. Authorities say it was caused by a water main break. Finally tonight, a coffee run gone wrong for a little critter seemingly on the hunt for a caffeine hit. The skunk got stuck in a cup, but fortunately, a helping hand was nearby. Stallone reports.
It looks like humans aren't the only ones eager to espresso their excitement for the new Tim Hortons fall menu.
I could hear this sound, like the banging of the cup on the sidewalk there, and I went out to investigate.
Careful, Bree.
This curious furry friend found itself in a bit of a jam, stuck with a coffee cup to his head. Thankfully, some local residents stepped in to brew up a happy ending.
I wanted to help the little one out, but I took a chance, I guess, risking maybe getting sprayed.
Brianne Kuche says she approached the neighborhood's black and white bandit determined to help.
Nice.
Brianne says she's just happy she was there at the right time.
Helping out the animals when they're stuck like that, like I think everyone should try at least to do something.
From coffee cups to close calls, this rescue is a reminder that kindness goes a long way. It may be a reminder to keep your coffee lids on tight. Stallone, CTV News, London.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.